I spent a long time looking for work in my once large and thriving city, but there was no place for me. I'd done everything right. I'd studied hard, followed instructions, and yet, after my military service, no one seemed to want me. Everywhere I went, they'd ask the same thing. "Young man, do you have professional experience in this field?" "No," I'd answer. "Well, then you're free to go." "But how are you supposed to get experience if nobody will hire you?" I tried everything, planning to take any job I could find, but it was all in vain. I even tried to get on a construction crew, but they told me they'd love to help, but they were already overstaffed. I could have taken my time, as they say. I wouldn't have starved to death, but I knew I couldn't stay on my parents' necks forever. My father would ask about my job search every evening. I wanted to move out. Home is home, but a man has to make his own way. I'd even been foolish enough to rely on friends, thinking that after hanging out for a couple of months, they'd help me. But as it turned out, they weren't much of a support system. They'd say, "We'll look into it, just wait." But no real help ever came, and when I pressed them, they'd just brush me off with irritation. That's when the reality of adulthood hit me. It was pretty sickening. Realizing that by and large, no one gives a damn about you was a bitter pill to swallow. I made a rule for myself then. My friendships ended the day I graduated from tech school. It's painful and foul to be treated this way by people you trusted like brothers just a couple of years ago, but so be it. As the saying goes, those who do nothing lose, and despite the lack of help from acquaintances or relatives, I launched into action. One evening, I was scrolling through job listings. I'd reject this, I wouldn't apply for that, and another required experience. Just as I was about to give up, I found a fantastic vacancy. It was a security guard position in the next town over. The pay was, let's say, not great, but in my situation, I couldn't afford to turn down even a mediocre offer. The ad didn't list specific requirements, just a description about guarding various sites and a phone number for details. I jotted the number down on a slip of paper and left it on the table to call first thing in the morning. A couple of other ads caught my eye as well, so I wrote those numbers down too. It was too late to call anyone anyway. At 10 the next morning, I dialed the number for the security job. A man answered, introduced himself, and after asking a few questions, told me to come down to their office. The neighboring town was close, just a 30-minute bus ride, so I grabbed my folder of documents, dressed in my best, and headed out. "Hello," I said, entering a small room occupied by 3 men glued to their monitors. Only one of them reacted to my presence. "Hear about the job?" the man, who looked to be in his 40s, with a raspy smoker's voice, asked. "Yes, I called you. You told me to come by." "Have a seat," he said, gesturing to a chair by his desk. I sat down. The man tore his gaze away from his screen, gave me a lazy look, pulled out a pack of cigarettes, and lit up. "What's your name?" he asked. "Michael." "Listen, Michael, this job, it's an acquired taste. You'll be guarding the city cemetery. The shift is 24 hours on, 72 hours off. Pay is $200. There are 2 guards per shift, so you'll have a partner. He'll show you the ropes when you get there. Duties are simple. Chase off vandals, issue keys to the staff walking there, and call the authorities if anything happens. It's light work, a quiet spot, and we'll provide the uniform. So, you ready to start?" I liked how straightforward the explanation was. No "we'll call you later" nonsense. And the schedule was God-sent. 24 on, 72 off. That was exactly what I needed. "When do I start?" I asked. "We can process the paperwork now if you have your documents. You report for duty tomorrow at 6 a.m. And don't be late. It's 6 to 6 or you'll get docked." I dug into my folder and handed over my documents. The man took them and started typing away at his computer. "You're from the neighboring town?" he asked. "Yeah." "Is the commute going to be a problem?" "Not at all. Our first bus leaves at 4:30 a.m., and it's a short ride." "Good," he said, handing my documents back. "Come with me. I'll get you your gear." After getting my uniform and asking a million questions about pay and schedules, I walked out onto the street practically purring. The first step was taken, and as they say, the most important thing is to start. I headed to the bus stop feeling satisfied. When I got home, I couldn't wait to share the news. But my father, sitting on the couch with a sour look, was disappointed. Security? And at a cemetery? I'm curious what you were thinking when you took that. I was thinking with my head, I replied. Doesn't seem like it. Normal people look for something substantial, and you agreed to work for $200. I took what I could get, I shot back. If you'd gone into construction, you could have worked there. It's clear to see you didn't turn out to be a sharp kid, my father said, looking at me with contempt. That was the wrong thing to say. The days when he could push me around were over. You promised you'd set me up with a decent job when I got back. You said everything was arranged. So where's this mining job you promised? My ungrateful father started to get up, but I said, "You'd better stay sitting." He must have weighed his options, realizing I was twice as strong as him now and could tie him into a knot without breaking a sweat. I used to be afraid of him. Now, let him be afraid of me. Frustrated, I went to my room, set my alarm so I wouldn't oversleep, packed my bag, and placed it by the bed. Around 2 a.m., I was woken by an argument in the kitchen. I did so much for him. "Quiet, you'll wake him up," my mother said. Dad must have been hitting the liquid courage again. I checked my phone, decided to get back to sleep, rolled over, and drifted off. I was walking down the road when I saw a man in a security uniform sitting on a bench in front of the gatehouse, leaning against the stone wall. I walked up, greeted him, introduced myself, and sat down. "So you're the new guy?" he asked. "Yeah," I replied. "What made you choose this place?" "I took what I could get." "Well, you're in luck. Max, your partner, is a decent guy. You won't be bored." "Listen," I said, "could you give me the rundown? I have no idea what's going on here." "Your partner will explain everything. He's due to arrive any minute. Honestly, there isn't much to tell. It's a quiet, peaceful place. Nobody in their right mind comes here at night." The job is simple. Open the gates in the morning, close them at night, hand out keys. Boredom. Pure and simple, he answered. Then added, "Come on, I'll show you the gatehouse." Walking inside, I was stunned. A large monitor displaying a dozen camera feeds, everything clean and well kept, a large desk, several chairs, even a coat rack, and a bed in the corner where I assumed I could catch some sleep. It's simple here. You sit inside, watch the cameras while your partner patrols the grounds during the day. During the day, keep the doors open so staff can come in to get keys or ask questions. Here is the sign-in, sign-out log. If someone takes keys, write down who, when, and at what time. That's it. Do we not have to patrol at night? I asked. In theory, we're supposed to, but we don't. Your partner will fill you in. Now, I'm off. A car pulled up to the gates. Out stepped Max, who I'd be working with. The day flew by. I was shown the microwave, told where the nearest store was, and briefed on the do's and don'ts, the standard onboarding. There wasn't much time to talk. After a half-hour briefing, Max went off to wander the grounds, leaving me to watch the cameras and handle the keys. Around 8 p.m., some workers stopped by, and I chatted with them for nearly an hour. Normal guys, nothing strange. The rest of the day was spent jumping between the radio, the gatehouse, and covering for Max. I have to admit, the cemetery was massive. If you wandered around here at night without knowing the paths, you wouldn't find your way out until dawn. And it was pretty gloomy. Evening came. We didn't bother checking if anyone was left on the grounds. We just locked the gates and went into the gatehouse for tea. "Well, that's that," Max said, turning on the kettle and putting his food in the microwave. "How was your first day?" "Not bad," I said, sitting in a chair. "Yeah, our job is really easy street. We'll turn off the cameras now and we can watch some TV." "Are we allowed to do that? Aren't we supposed to be guarding?" Max laughed. "Guarding? Remember, our work ends as soon as we lock the gates. Until 4 a.m., you can't leave. You want to sleep, watch TV, go home? Well, don't overdo the last one. They might come to check on us in the middle of the night." "I definitely like this job," I said, pleased. The schedule is nice. No work, just open, close the gates, and pretend to work during the day. "Yeah, well, except for the chance of getting eaten," Max said, pouring himself tea. "Eaten? What do you mean, eaten?" Exactly what I said. Don't worry though, it gets lively here at night. You'll hear plenty of screams, cries, scratching, and other lovely things. You're joking, right? I asked, looking at Max with disbelief. Joking? Not for a second. Look closely at the doors and the walls. Do you notice anything unusual? I looked around, but nothing stood out. I told him I didn't see what I was supposed to see. I'll tell you then. First, we have no windows, which is strange because we should be able to see who's coming and going. And look at the door, a mortise lock and a deadbolt, and the door itself is thick and reinforced with steel on the outside. That's not by accident. Things happen here at night that make living here complicated. What kind of things? I asked. Different things, Max replied. For instance, every night someone walks circles around the gatehouse, knocks on the door, and asks for a drink, a light, or something else. The voices are always changing. Women, men. You'd think it was just someone who got lost. But no, it's not human. It's the undead, craving fresh meat. Don't you dare open that door. They'll eat us both in a heartbeat. Sometimes they knock and say, "Open the gates, I can't get out." You check the cameras and see nobody there, but the knocking continues. You sit there and wonder what the hell is knocking. And you really shouldn't stare too long at the cameras. Sometimes you see things that will keep you awake for a week. I remember one guy sitting here. I hear knocking. Figure, let them knock. I check the cameras. Nothing. I keep scrolling on my phone. Then I hear, "Max, open the door." The voice was female, magical, alluring, and that's when I got scared. It's talking from outside, and your brain feels like it's being drained. I thought, one more second, and I'll get up and open the damn door. But I managed to hold out. Then the voice changed, became coarse, metallic, and added the sound of scratching on the steel cladding. It started telling me exactly what would happen to me if I didn't open that door, then talked about how it was tired of lying in the dirt and wanted fresh meat, just a little bit.
It offered a deal. "Hey Max, let me eat your left hand, and I'll give you gold coins in return. You don't need your left hand anyway, and with that money, you could live happily ever after." "That's terrifying," I said. "That's not even the scary part. The scary part is when someone breaks into the cemetery. Watching that's terrifying." I remember 4 guys climbing over the fence and walking straight down the main lit road. They were laughing, but I saw on the cameras that corpses were gathering in the dark, waiting for them to move into the shadows. That's exactly what happened. They dragged one into the dark and ate him, and the other 3 panicked and ran in different directions. Within 10 seconds, they were torn to shreds. By morning, not a drop of blood was left. The earth here is thirsty for blood. No matter how much you spill, it drinks it all, Max said, sipping his tea. "Do you know what happened to your predecessor? He was in your seat just a week ago." "No," I replied. "They ate him," he said. "We were sitting just like this, talking, around 1 a.m., and suddenly, from outside the door, 'Son, let me in.' My hair stood on end, but he jumped off his chair and headed for the door. I yelled, 'Stop! Don't open it!' But he slid the bolt back and was already turning the lock." Max went silent. "And then what?" I asked. "What then? I didn't make it in time, and the voice outside said, 'Son, come out.' Well, I helped my partner leave and slammed the door shut. That idiot scrambled outside, shrieked like a girl, and they dragged him away. He vanished for good. The idiot knew what could happen here, and he paid the price. So don't mess around, or I'll throw you out the door just like him," Max said, taking his mug off the table.